he set the tone by immediately, as the first witness, taking jurors back to 2016. It was March 5th when Flores said he responded to a call from hotel staff of a woman in distress on the 6th floor.
For it to go so fast, for a federal trial to finalize a jury, do the strike process, and there was a little contention about that. The defense argued that they struck 7 of 9 black jurors, so there was a bit of a disagreement about that.
The first witness, former Intercontinental Hotel security guard Israel Flores, testified about responding to that now infamous incident, speaking with Combs and his ex-girlfriend, a key witness in this case, Cassie Ventura.
Did the check, did he ever make $1 million deposit from anybody in the record business? Puff was friends with Jimmy Henchman.
That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
She was saying that she wanted to get her phone, her bag, she wanted to leave. But Combs told her, "You're not going to leave." The second witness today was an escort, testifying that he participated at a freak-off at the Gramercy Park Hotel.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs back behind bars, a magistrate judge denying him bail, saying that there were no conditions that she could conceive of that would make her confident that he would appear again for other court appearances. The judge saying, "My concern is this is a crime that happens behind closed doors."
She didn't go to the police, she went to the bank. Cassie Ventura's mother, Regina Ventura, sat in a federal courtroom and told jurors something no mother should ever have to say. She had to wire Sean Diddy Combs $20,000, not as a gift, not as payment for services, but because she was afraid. Afraid that if she didn't, something would happen to her daughter, and she wasn't guessing. She had seen the bruises, heard the threats, and lived the fear. That money came from her home equity loan. The bank cleared it and she sent it, but days later the money came back, yet the fear stayed. What unfolded next in that courtroom would shake everyone.
Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucien Grange.
This wasn't tabloid gossip. This was sworn testimony, and it was only the beginning. Regina Ventura told the court she wired the money on December 23, 2011. That day, Cassie had emailed her in a panic. She said Diddy was threatening to release explicit footage of her on Christmas Day as some twisted form of punishment, and it wasn't the first time he had resorted to threats. According to Regina, Diddy was furious that Cassie had been seen with someone else and claimed he deserved compensation. So he demanded $20,000. Regina said she didn't hesitate. She pulled money from her home equity, wired it to Diddy's company, and tried not to cry.
The Sean Diddy Combs trial has started, and I told you that I would give you an update when it's pertinent. So a lot of things have happened today, including they have chosen the 12 jurors that will decide Diddy's fate.
The money came back days later, but Regina insisted it was never about the money. It was about control, and for a brief moment, he had it. That same Christmas Eve, Cassie arrived at her mom's house with large bruises on her thigh and lower back. Regina didn't ask where they came from because deep down she already knew, but this time, Cassie confirmed it. She told her mother the bruises were from Sean Combs. Regina did what many mothers would do. She took photos. She wanted proof, evidence, something she could hold on to in case the worst ever happened. The photos were shown in court this week, and when they appeared on the screen, the jury went silent.
Now, as far as jury selection goes, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that both sides expect to have all of this done in the matter of 3 days. Now, given just how high profile this trial is, I was kind of stunned that they seem very confident that they will be able to seat a jury in that amount of time.
Regina said that was the first time Cassie told her about the abuse, but it wasn't the beginning of it. It had been happening for years, hidden, covered up, until that moment. In 2016, Regina flew to Los Angeles to celebrate her daughter's birthday. Instead, she found herself in a shouting match outside Cassie's apartment. Regina told the court that Diddy had taken Cassie's phone during an argument. When Regina confronted him, she said she screamed, cursed, and, yes, even tried to hit him. She didn't care that one of his bodyguards, D-Rock, was standing between them. All she cared about was getting that phone back.
Diddy's lawyers had argued that he had made good faith efforts by showing up in New York, ready to surrender to face these charges, but prosecutors said that he could not be trusted, that he has a history of trying to intimidate witnesses, including some who are going to be witnesses in this case.
Regina said she believed there was something on that phone, something Cassie wanted to protect. Diddy eventually gave it back, but not before he took Cassie's car. It was always the same pattern. Take something, control something, leave a scar you couldn't see. Sheree Hayes, a former exotic dancer, testified that he had been hired by Cassie using an alias. She told him she wanted a fantasy scene for her birthday. However, what started as a private dance quickly became something much darker. Hayes said that when he arrived, the furniture was covered in sheets. There were bottles of baby oil everywhere. Cassie was wearing a wig and a robe.
Sean P. Diddy Combs' family arrived for day one of his trafficking trial.
How is your father feeling today?
They walked into the federal courthouse in Manhattan, hand in hand, in a gesture of solidarity.
She told him her husband would come out later to watch, but instructed him not to speak to him or look at him. Hayes said the man emerged wearing a mask that revealed only his eyes. The man never spoke, never reacted, just watched. Hayes performed, was paid, and left, but he was called back again, 8 to 12 times. It wasn't until he saw a welcome message for Sean Combs on the hotel TV screen that he realized the masked man was Diddy. David James worked for Diddy from 2007 to 2009. He told the court that one night, he and a colleague went to pick up food in Los Angeles.
The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to exploit both women and men for decades.
They ran into Suge Knight, Diddy's longtime rival. James said they left quickly, but when Diddy found out, he demanded they go back with 3 loaded on his lap. James drove. He was terrified. They arrived, but the black SUVs Suge was in had already left. Still, James said that was the moment he realized his life was in danger. He had seen a lot while working for Diddy, but this was different. This was something out of a movie, and the fear he felt that night never fully went away. James also testified that he was often forced to take lie detector tests, not by the police, but by Diddy.
We have the latest from federal court in the Sean Combs criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea offer.
Jewelry would go missing or cash, and Diddy would have his staff interrogated. He said he felt trapped. If he refused the test, he risked losing his job. But the strangeness didn't stop there. James said he picked up drugs, including cocaine and for Diddy and his associates. Once, he opened Diddy's medicine bag and found ecstasy pills shaped like President Barack Obama's face. James recalled taking one during a New Year's Eve party without permission. Days later, Diddy showed him footage of him dancing and said, "I'll keep this in case I ever need it."
The last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings.
James believed it was a threat, a reminder that Diddy saw everything. James recalled one night in Miami. He had been asked to bring an iPad to Diddy's hotel room. No one answered, so he let himself in. What he saw lingered in his mind. Cassie was lying in bed still with the blanket pulled up to her neck. She lay on her back, which James thought was strange, as she always slept on her side. A naked man with long hair and a large belly ran out of the room. Diddy was in the shower. James didn't say anything. He didn't ask questions. But something about that night felt off, wrong. He said it wasn't his place to get involved, but what he witnessed, he never forgot. Cassie's former friend Carrie Morgan also took the stand. She testified that Diddy once choked her during an argument and threw a wooden hanger at her head, hitting her just behind the ear. The argument started because Diddy accused Cassie of cheating. Morgan said she begged Cassie to leave him, but Cassie claimed she couldn't. Diddy controlled everything: her job, her car, her apartment. Dawn Richard, another witness, stated she saw Diddy punch Cassie at a dinner party in front of music industry giants like Usher and Ne-Yo. She said Diddy later warned her that if she ever spoke out, she could go missing. And that was the reality. Fear was the currency, and silence was the price. When Regina Ventura finished her testimony, Diddy's lawyer stood up. He said hello, and then informed her he had no questions. That was it. No rebuttal, no cross-examination, just a silence. The courtroom was stunned. And perhaps that silence spoke louder than any defense could. Because if even a fraction of what these witnesses said is true, then Diddy isn't just facing legal charges. He's facing a collapse. An empire built on power and fear is now confronting testimony after testimony of trauma, pain, and control. The court hasn't ruled yet, but the world is watching. And the question we're all asking now is, how much did we never see?